Hello, my friends. Welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. This is Jennifer. Guys, I did it. I turned my tablecloth into a shirt. So this is my $3 tablecloth that I bought from Austin Creative Reuse. And I did, as you can see, split it like I showed you guys last week. I ended up using the blouse I showed you guys recently, the one that had the little straps here that I turned into like this design. I used it as my inspiration piece, and I measured the original fabric, I measured the seam lines that were there originally, and then I figured out, what I did, and I wrote it all down. And this tablecloth was only 1 inch longer in this direction than the blouse I was working with. So it was a perfect candidate for this. So I did split it in half, and I sewed a 1/2 inch seam here. I literally just pressed it and stitched it down so that it has a little stitch line right here. I serged the edges with a rolled hem. So this has a rolled hem. I do think I might make the sleeves a little shorter because they bunch up a little bit here. I'd like them to be just a little above my elbow. So I might take a little bit off of this, but again, this was wider in this direction. So it's kind of to be expected that it's a little wide, but I wanted to wear it first and kind of feel whether or not that was necessary. While I was working with this fabric, I did discover there was some sun bleaching on some of the red binding. I did find a couple of sort of subtle stains that I hadn't noticed before. The rust stain ended up basically under my arm, so you can't even see where it is because when I put it down, it's just gone. And so the little stains, most of them ended up either in the elastic parts or under my arm or in a place like down here, so you can't really see it. I am glad that I split it because you can see this part just disappears when I put my arms down, so you wouldn't be able to see this bit at all if I hadn't done it this way. I love the way it came out. I was a little nervous about sewing the elastic here, but when I was inspecting the fabric before I started working on this, I realized that all of these flowers were about to come off, so I ended up going back and machine stitching on top with red thread to make sure that they weren't going to come out. A lot of the hand stitching, the thread was starting to dry rot, so I just stitched over it. Fabric's totally fine, but some of the stitching was starting to go. So I left it all, but then I stitched on top. You can't really tell. I tried to match the thread the best I could, so you still get the effects of the hand embroidery, hand applique, without the fear of all of this coming off when I wash it again. Now again, I did wash this when it was a tablecloth multiple times, so I know it's going to wash up just fine. And this was mostly red thread, white thread. I will talk a little bit about the binding that I used here. So I cut the neck out to match the neck on the other blouse that I showed you guys. So this fabric is additional fabric. This was not part of the tablecloth. I went through my stash and I found this fabric because I needed something for this edge, and I decided I didn't want white. I wanted to continue the red. So this fabric is the closest that I had. Let's see what this is. I think this was given to me. This is a Riley Blake from 2018. I don't know. I might have bought it. Someone might have given it to me. This is right up my alley for the kind of fabric that I buy. It's a nice red tonal, but it was so close to this fabric in hue that I thought it was perfect. And I think you guys will have to give me your opinion, but I don't think you can tell this is different fabric when you just look at it all as one piece. Now, the thing that this did for me was it gave me a proof of concept. I love the way this fits. I made it just for me. I mentioned to you guys recently, I'm tired of wearing clothes that don't fit my body type. I'm a little bit busty and a whole lot hippie, so I need something that makes me feel like it's not choking me to death around my midsection. And this, I love this wide flowy because it goes over my hips and it goes over my behind without feeling like a sausage casing. I want to make more like this. This is, I think, of the blouses that I have made so far, I think this is my favorite one. I love the one that I made from the McCall's pattern. I think it was a McCall's pattern. The one that I made out of the extra duvet fabric. I love that shirt, but square collar is hard for me to wear. Every time I bend over, it's just like boobs. So that's not really my jam. So this one just really works better for me. And I feel like with different fabric, it makes an entirely different top. I would like to try this again in other fabric. I don't know what yet, but I'll figure that out. So let's do a 360 so you can see the back as well. This is the outside binding. Like I said, I split it down the middle, sewed the two outsides together just like I showed you guys last week. I'll show you guys the measurements that I came up with, but keep in mind that these are the measurements that work for me. I have no idea if this would work for anyone else. So grain of salt. So this is folded in half. It starts out as a 45-inch square all the way around. The edges are finished. Everything has to be finished. And then it's folded in half. The neck is 12 inches in both sides here from the center, and then 3 inches down in the middle. And then I just curved it by eyeball. I did half of it, cut it, folded it over, did the other half so it would be symmetrical. And then the side like sleeve flap, so it starts 8 inches down and then it stops 6 inches before the bottom. I cut this, I sewed this, and I measured the inside where I wanted the elastic before I put the neck in. So the elastic is 15 inches down from the neck. If this is something you guys are interested in, I might do a tutorial, but again, these are for my measurements and I don't really know if it'll work for anyone else. Like this elastic was literally me going like this so that I knew where I wanted it to be. So you guys let me know what you think. Let me know if you enjoyed my $3 tablecloth. I am delighted that I got to rescue someone's discarded tablecloth. It honestly makes me feel inspired because I learned a lot of my recycling skills and my reuse skills from my granny, and she reused everything. Old clothes became rags and quilts. Old quilts became batting for new quilts. She did not throw much away. She saved bread bags. I don't think she ever bought a sandwich bag in her life because she didn't need to. She reused everything. So I feel like I honor her memory a little bit every time I do a project like this. Before we go, quick update on the bookcase quilt project. I have made it to the mythology row. It is taking me a little longer because it has more books than all the other rows. That was part of that row. So I'm having a great time with it, but it's just a little slow going. So kind of my goal at this point is one a week. If I can just get one a week, that would be awesome. The classics row represents the second half of the quilt though, so I feel like I'm making good progress. I had one other tiny project to show you guys. I did a little Cricut project last week. We have a Google Home doorbell that has a camera in it, and I have a no soliciting sign in the window next to my door, which people don't seem to notice. My husband works from home. I am here all the time, and when people ring the doorbell and they don't actually need to talk to us, they're not like a friend or they don't have a package or whatever, it is extremely disruptive to our day. So since my no soliciting sign was being ignored, this is what I did. I'm going to put a picture in because it's currently in use, but I did put this in Design Space. So if you have a Cricut, this is just stuff that I found in, I mean, the fonts were just stuff that was in Design Space, so I will put a link to that in the description. Now let's just hope it works. A huge thanks to my coffee supporters and to my one super thanks. You guys, I appreciate you and I hope you're doing well. You guys have a great week, have a crafty week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.